Howdy. This is part 2 of the Ben Folds puppet video thing that I'm working on. And off camera, I put in the mouth foam because I don't have the plastic boards that I would use. But if I were to use plastic boards, I would make it so that the top of the foam is glued onto the board. So when all of it is glued on, it has like a nice lip. If when I get it, I'll definitely show it. I promise, but I don't have that, and sometimes foam is okay to work with when making mouths. So when you make a mouth for a majority of puppets, you just want it to be a hemisphere shape. The mouth can actually change the entire like form or face of the puppet if you do it in a very specific or peculiar way. The first thing that comes to mind with this is most of the freckles from the Muppet Show, from the Muppet monsters that are labeled as freckles. A lot of them have like a weird shaped beak thing, but then the mouth plate itself is also a weird shape, so it gives the head more of a rounded front and then pointy end, which I think is awesome. But with most human characters and the majority of characters that you're most likely going to make, unless they have like a snout or something like that, you're gonna just want like a hemisphere. And I also cut out these two strips of fabric. They weren't really measured in any particular way. What they're gonna be is they're gonna be the thing that connects the neck sleeve to the head, and I just glue it on the inside and on the outside of the puppet so that like there's still like loose stuff right here, so you can actually sew it onto that. You don't want to glue it on where it's going to connect. That would make it severely difficult and probably get your needle all gross. And when making the neck sleeve, you want to make sure that the stretch is sideways instead of vertical, so when you put in your hand, it doesn't like stay stiff when when your arm gets naturally larger, and also won't like stretch down when you're trying to pull it down, because that can be frustrating and it makes it a lot more difficult to get your hand through the puppet. I've done it in the past and it's a big whoopsie. It really is. But yeah, I guess next is the glue. So if you follow my directions I mean, they're not crazy. You get a result that looks something like this. So now you got the mouth filled in, and now the puppet is more, well, now it fulfills its purpose, sort of. I mean, you're gonna want arms and you're gonna want a whole body to fully express the character, but otherwise, the puppet is done functionally for the head. And then, the neck sleeve, it turns out I didn't have enough for the back there, which is okay because you're not gonna see it, right? You're just gonna sew the neck sleeve on right here. Then I'll go down and you put your arm in it. It's like, whoa, crazy. Puppetry, well, puppet building is not the most intense thing, but I do realize that there are very little sources on it, and that's why I'm doing my best to put this out there, because I like Adam Kreutinger's a great guy. He put out a lot of stuff, but he pretty much did an overview, like a summary. Is that to say that his work is useless? No, 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 no. I actually suggest you watch his series before you watch any of the things I do, because that's where I got my knowledge. But at the same time, he also doesn't tell you about neck sleeves And if you follow his series exactly, your puppet is gonna have like a foam head floating in the felt, and the foam body will also be floating in that felt, which is not it's not like impossible to work with, but it's a little bit of a struggle. The body is not a crazy deal. I'm not certain how much I'll get into it in this video. I think this video is gonna end like soon, but yeah, this is pretty much the head. Next it needs the felt covering, and then it's gonna need the mouth color, the mouth felt, which is normally glued onto the mouth plate because then you glue the face foam onto the lip of the mouth plate instead of what I do. I sew the mouth felt onto the face felt, and if it needs gluing, then I'll glue it onto the mouth plate. Um, so it stays more stable. But otherwise, yeah, his foam head's pretty much done, which is awesome. It's got a very slim, round head. And I hope that when I put live hands on him, he doesn't look awful. I mean, like generally speaking, if you have a live hand puppet, the head needs to be big so the proportions are right. But it's got kind of a tiny head. Um, so yeah, we'll see how that goes.